Hello, everybody. Today's episode of the LinkedIn Global Influencer Summit, we have none other than Ira Bowman joining us. Ira is an amazing personality on LinkedIn. Right now, he is described as an entrepreneur, a social media influencer, an organic SEO and website traffic content creator, photographer, website development, video production, TEDx speaker, and the founder of Project Help You Grow. So, Ira, welcome to today's call. So, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Derek. It's always, like I was saying in the green room, it's always an honor for me to be included on this list, and I get to talk to you as well, my friend. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that. And welcome. So let's get started. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So professionally, I am a marketing business owner. However, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm actually looking at buying another business right now. Hopefully next time we talk, I'll have another business in the fold. But I also own Project Help You Grow, as you referenced, which is a philanthropy that I started back in 2018. But the main way that I earn my income, which is I think what you mean by that, is I'm a marketing professional. So our company, we help raise the visibility of our clients on social media and in search engines so that their prospects and their clients can find them easier and hire them online. That's the goal, is to drive them over to their websites.
Fantastic. And LinkedIn obviously plays an important part in all of that. So can you tell us about your journey on LinkedIn, and how long ago was it that you first got started on LinkedIn, and what has it been like for you during your journey ever since you got started all those years ago?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually joined LinkedIn back in 2009. And if you guys haven't seen, since the last time we talked, Derek, I actually did a TEDx talk on this topic. So if you guys want to go over and check out my TEDx talk, you can get into all the details. But the quick story is this: I learned how to use LinkedIn in a networking capacity, which sounds a little bit crazy, but a lot of people, they join LinkedIn and they want to connect with the people that they already know, or maybe they connect just, really with the people that are in their either vertical market or their direct area. And so they kind of stay in that specialty. And what I learned was that the way LinkedIn works is it's kind of like a fuse box, right? You have 30,000 open fuse slots on LinkedIn. So it's a little analogy. And however many connections you have, because you can only be connected with up to 30,000, but the more that you would fill in and connect with people from all over the place, despite their industry or their location, the more power that was infused into your ability to see and be seen on LinkedIn. It's weird because we're ingrained with this stranger danger. I don't know you, so I shouldn't connect with you. What if you try to sell to me? All those things. But I learned how to deal with that. Basically, a LinkedIn connection is not a marriage contract. It's a connection that you can begin the journey, and if for whatever reason they bother you, you can like ditch them and replace them, right? So think of it like a power box. When I started to think this way back in 2018, I was on LinkedIn already for nine and a half years. I joined LinkedIn in August of 2009. I had 1,500 connections in May of 2018 when I had this epiphany. And from that point forward, from May of 2018 to February of 2019, I went from 1,500 connections to 30,000, and I've been maxed out ever since. But now I've amassed almost 200,000 followers on LinkedIn. And in May of 2020, I got laid off from my job. And because I had 150,000 followers at that time, I was actually able to launch successfully Bowman Digital Media, which is how I make my living now. So now I'm self-employed, and I don't want to brag or anything, but I actually make more money now than I've ever made before. And it really was just from that transition of using LinkedIn the way most people use it. We're connecting like a Rolodex with the people you already know, or the people that you're logically just really connected to or close to in business, to opening it up. And funny enough, ironic enough, you noticed I said social media influencer in my title now, which is something I never would have done before. I actually have over 100,000 followers on Instagram as well. So on Instagram, I'm at 129,000 followers as of today, right? So
Fantastic.
I have two networks of over 6 figures of following, and it's all because I changed the way that I'm connecting to folks. I'm giving them a shot to build a rapport before I know them, right? So it's like, okay, I'll give you a little bit of rope. Let's see what you do with it. And if you treat me right, then great, it's win-win. And if you don't, then we just move on. No hard feelings. But that's how I'm using social media in a different way than most. And that's how I've been able to elevate and use the leverage that comes with it in a whole different way. So again, if you're curious, you can see the whole story on my TEDx talk, but that's kind of a quick summary.
Your TEDx talk is highly recommended. I've watched it several times. It's over on YouTube. So just search for Ira Bowman TEDx talk and you'll find it. And it is highly recommended. It's a great watch, a great listen. So yeah, check that out. And it's interesting what you mentioned about giving, because one of the things that I have learned myself purely through the friendships with people like you and other influencers on this platform and the relationships that I've formed with them is a lot of the influencers who grow, who do extremely well, they do that basically by giving and basically by helping others, being there for others, building on those relationships. And it's just amazing how things can start to take off and start to grow when you start thinking about your audience, what's in it for them, instead of what you want to get out of it. So, yeah.
Can we talk about that for just a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to say this. This is what I think people miss. It's so important what you said. It's 100% spot on. I think what people miss, though, the part that's missing for them in this equation so that it all makes sense. LinkedIn or social media really as a whole is not the place to go fishing for clients. And that's where most people are making their mistake. They're trying to sell directly to the people they're connected to. I will tell you that that's not, look, again, I don't want to brag. I'm not trying to be that guy who says, oh, look at me, I make all this money. I'm just telling you that most people aren't making the money on LinkedIn that they could make because they're trying to sell directly to the consumer, the person they're connecting to. That is not how I do it. And I make, like I said, more money than I've ever made in my life. And most of my revenue comes from LinkedIn directly. And I make over 6 figures. Okay. So I'm just gonna put it out there like that. But here's what you need to do if you want to make money with LinkedIn. Don't sell to your audience. Instead, educate. Educate your audience. Help them. Why do you help them? Well, you help them because you want to be a good person, but also people are more endeared to you when you help them, right? So if you have a heart to give, then people are going to be like, I like Derek or I like Ira because they're helpful, right? But here's the thing that I say that you want to do. So always help, but educate your audience. Educate them on what you do and how you help others professionally. And here's why. If you can take your audience and create a referral army, basically what you're doing is you're educating them like, I create websites, I do SEO work, I manage social media for businesses, I do these things, right? I'm a graphic designer, photographer, right? So if I can educate my audience, or you can educate your audience, whoever you are that's watching, if you can educate them on how you can help people professionally, now they hear that somebody's looking for somebody that does that. And they say, hey, have you talked to Ira? That's how you get much wider and much deeper without having to hire a sales force, without having to advertise. And it isn't icky. When you send me a direct message trying to sell me something before I even know you, I want to disconnect from you right away. And I'm going to stop listening to you because now I just feel like I'm your meal ticket. But instead, if you show people your heart, that you're like a person who cares and isn't just about yourself, and then you educate them on what you do, I promise you that's when the referrals will start coming. And I challenge you to ask most business owners what their best source of income is. And most of them will tell you that referrals are their best source of revenue. And that's the thing that people are doing wrong on social media is, again, they're trying to sell directly to the masses instead of educate. And I know it's a little bit longer game. It's a little bit a longer process, right? But it's chess, not checkers. The strategy works. I've done this with my clients in so many different industries. And I tell them that, and they all look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what do you mean I shouldn't sell? That's the whole reason I'm on social media. And I'm like, that's the reason you're not selling.
Exactly.
You're doing it wrong.
I completely agree with you 100%. In fact, I go as far to say my favorite 4 words on LinkedIn are add value without selling.
There you go. That's it.
Just add value without selling.
Bullseye. And add value. Add value. And this is the part, again, you have to educate, because you can't just assume because someone follows you that they're going to be like researching what's in your profile. In fact, I would tell you this, if they haven't looked at that before you connected, the odds of them looking at it after are slim, right? Unless they're trying to look at it to sell you something, which again, that's that icky. But if you're making posts and you're educating people, and do something a little bit creative, try graphics, try text only, like mix it up. Don't just be a one-trick pony. You mix that up and educate people over time, it'll click. They'll get it.
Yep. And the other point that I should make is that use LinkedIn as a tool to get the conversation started.
Yes,
as a tool to establish, build, and nurture that relationship with your connections, with your target audience, etc., so that ultimately, when the time is right, when you've added enough value without selling, you can then take that conversation to the next level, which is actually away from LinkedIn. That conversation
offline, or now you can do it with like LinkedIn audio and stuff, which is really cool. Yep. So there are ways. But again, that's a little bit different. That's like that Clubhouse model, right? It's again, you're getting away from, and you're adding human connection. I'm going to networking meetings as much as I can, in person. And like I got a little bit ahead of the curve when it came to like, hey, we're still being cautious, and I am vaccinated and those things. So I was still being careful, but I wanted that human interaction. So I've flown to Canada. I haven't been outside Canada or the US since COVID started, but I've flown to Canada. I've been all over in Florida, New York, Texas, Alabama. I'm trying to think where else I've been. I've been to a few places. Vegas for sure. The Bay Area and Los Angeles, greater Los Angeles, San Diego, and the whole thing. And I'm meeting with people as much as I can in person, just to do exactly what you're talking about, Derek. It's that, hey, let me take you to coffee, or let's grab a bite to eat, and let's cement the relationship with a little bit of face-to-face if you can.
Yeah. And the other point that I should also add is, and I've read a lot about this, there's an old saying, and that is, the best salespeople, they don't sell.
Yeah.
They just talk to people. Okay, it's as simple as that. Everybody knows what it's like when they get that sales pitch, when they're sitting there or standing there and they're on the receiving end of a sales pitch. Okay, and if you want to experience what it's like, just go to your local used car yard and you'll experience one within 5 minutes of walking into the place. Sorry to all the used car salespeople out there, but in all seriousness, the best salespeople, they don't sell. They just talk to people. And the reason they become the best salespeople is because by just talking to people, just having a casual conversation, you're treating them respectfully, and they appreciate that. And so they'll be far more inclined to listen to you. So everybody knows what it's like when they receive that sales pitch inside their inbox. They know exactly how they react to those sales pitch inside their inbox on LinkedIn. And the reason they react that way is because it's too early in the conversation.
Yeah.
So instead, you use LinkedIn as a tool to get the conversation started. And then when the time's right, you take the conversation to the next level, which can be face-to-face, phone call, Zoom call, whatever you like. And it's during that extra level conversation that you then start talking about the products or services that you provide, the solutions you offer, etc. Yeah.
That's 100% true. I mean, the fact is, if I reach out to you and say, hey, can I interest you in whatever, it's going to be a lot different conversation than if you reach out to me and say, hey, I saw that you do this, or I heard that you do this. Can we talk about it?
Exactly.
Much different conversation.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
You can ask probing questions. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
But the minute that they feel like you're trying to sell them something, you've probably lost them.
Yeah.
That's, unless, of course, they started the conversation and asked you, hey, tell me a little bit more about how you help people increase their visibility online, because we struggle with that. Okay, now I'm not selling. Now I'm educating and informing, and I'm doing it at their request. Yeah. Much different than a cold, hey, I noticed that you're a dentist, and I have several other dentist clients, and I think I know exactly how to help you. Would you be interested in a 15-minute call with me? But you've never heard of me before. You don't know who I am. Yeah, the odds of that going well are very, very slim, right?
Show some genuine interest in what they do first. Yeah. Then add that value without selling.
For sure.
Build on that relationship. Yeah. So, Ira, just to move on a little bit, LinkedIn has grown over the last several years, especially during the pandemic. What have been some of the changes that you've seen that you're excited about?
Well, I don't have LinkedIn audio yet. Shame on you, LinkedIn, for not giving me that feature, because I was really excited when I heard that was coming out, because I'm not a huge Clubhouse fan of the platform, but I like the concept. So I was excited to get LinkedIn audio, and I hope that they watch this and rectify that right away. I think I'm on the latter end. I get all the updates later. But one of the cool things that I like, I manage social media for about 40 companies on LinkedIn. And one of the new things that they've done, they've changed the way the business pages work. So I can make a post and then I can change the profile view right there on the fly. And I can engage more. Now I'm talking about as a content creator. I really like the fact that I can change the vehicle that I'm in. They've made that easier. That's a cool upgrade. The other thing, I think since the last time we talked, which is new, is the featured section, or what they call creator mode. So you turn on creator mode, and that gives you the ability to add videos, to add photos, to add, your PowerPoint slides or whatever. But one of the things I think everybody should be doing, because most of us, I should say, are either here to find a job or to find new clients or to find new people to work for us. Maybe it's to find an investor or whatever. Now, you have the ability to create a video and park it right there in the number one spot of your featured section.
Yep.
That's cool. But also you can record on the app, on the mobile version. You can record an intro video up to 30 seconds and have them play that right there on your profile photo. I think creator mode is one of the coolest things that LinkedIn's done in a long time for the masses. So my favorite thing happens to be they made it easier for me to manage the business profiles, but I really do like the creator mode, and I'm so happy that they have it.
I'm a big fan of creator mode. I have the featured section. One of the things that I did with my featured section that I thought works extremely well is I actually added an index to that featured section in the first square. So it tells people what's in the rest of the featured section. So
yeah, that's neat. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I used to do for when LinkedIn Live was more of a novelty than it is now. I used to have what I called the Ira guide. It was a play off a TV guide. Yeah. And so I made a graphic and I had it there actually in the first slot until I started doing the intro video. But I had it there, and what it was every day I was going live every day. So I was like, okay, what day, what time, and what's the topic? Because every day it was a different topic. Cool. And so that was kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so these have been some of the updates you've seen with LinkedIn. What would be some of the best advice or suggestions that you can provide to the audience about how they should go about building, growing their business or increasing their exposure on the platform?
So a couple things. If you follow me, you'll notice that every time I make a post, I tag my business page in the post. And then the reason why I do that, and I tag myself too, by the way, which took me a minute to get used to. And the reason why I do that is when somebody shares your post, you get a notification that they shared it. That's nice. Okay. But if you tag yourself in the post and somebody shares it, then on their shared post, somebody comments, you also get a notification. So it increases your notifications. Now, if you think about what we're trying to do on LinkedIn based on what I said earlier, and that's fill in those 30,000 slots, right? The fuse box is 30,000 open slots. Let's fill those up with people who are interested in what we're doing, right? The right people. Well, here's one of the ways you can find the right people that you don't already know. The people shared it that like and support you. Now they have people in their audience, auspiciously your seconds and thirds, but now you have a way to engage with them on your content.
Yep.
So tag yourself, use that @ symbol, put your name in. And then if you own a business or a side hustle and you have a page, right, tag that too. And then when people share it, go as your business page and make comments there too, because you'll increase your follower counts. Again, I know that most people didn't join LinkedIn to become influencers. I totally get it. But this is about visibility. Again, if you watch my TEDx talk, I'll explain this in much more detail. But you can't see everything on LinkedIn, and I can't see everything on LinkedIn. But the way you can see more of it and the way more people can see you is by increasing your followers. You have to do this because you have to ask yourself this simple question. What is the first, second, and third level connections on LinkedIn Therefore, it's not like that on any other platform. But LinkedIn is a special breed. It works different. So take my advice, check out that TEDx talk and I'll explain it better. But
are you referring to tagging yourself in the intro, the body copy of the post, or in the comments?
Yeah, no, in the body. It has to be in the body of the post.
Okay.
So I use it like a signature.
Yep.
Okay, so I write my post, and then down at the bottom, I actually do it in this order. Okay, I'm going to help everybody. So you write your post, and then below the text, right? So let's say I was going to say, hey, if you need help with digital marketing, you should let's have a free consultation. There's my text, right? And then I sign it. I do at Ira, right? And that's me. And then I actually have 4 businesses. Okay, so I have Bowman Digital Media, I have Project Help You Grow, I have Ira Bowman Photography, and I have Bowman Coaching. So every post at the end of it, you'll see those 5 pages are tagged, myself and my 4 business pages. Then I'll do my hashtags. Now, the hashtags are inviting people that I don't know that are in my network. So they could be seconds and thirds. That's inviting people to the party. But the tags are there, not to spam everybody. Hey, come please comment on my post. That's how a lot of people are using tags, and it drove everybody nuts. Don't do that. That's not a friendly way to do it, right? But I tag myself in my businesses. Then when I get shares, I go from those pages and I make comments and I say, thank you for sharing. And when, again, other people come now to that particular post and comment on it, I can reach out to them and say, hey, thanks for the support. If you'd like to connect or, ever talk about whatever the post was about, I'd love to talk to you. Right. And so it's a way to increase your visibility. That's the goal here, should be to increase your visibility, educate people on what it is you do through your posts. But the number one thing I want to talk about is comments. Yep. Look, I am a content creator. I'm a graphic designer. I'm a photographer. I love to make all this stuff. Right. But if you said, Ira, you can only make comments or you can only make posts on LinkedIn, you have to choose. You can either make posts all the time or you can make comments all the time. What are you going to choose? I would choose comments. I would never make another post. And that drives everybody crazy. They're like, what do you mean? You're a content creator. I'm like, look, I can go to Simon Sinek, Gary Vee. I can go to anybody I want. To any of my big friends, Tao Lau, Anthony James. I mean, the list goes on and on. Kirsty Bonner and I used to be really good friends. I considered her my best friend on LinkedIn, right? I could go to any of those people and I can make comments on their posts. And guess what I've done? I've increased my visibility by the millions. So where I can get a post that'll get 100,000 or 500,000 views, 1 million views on a really good post of mine, but I have to fight for that. Or I could just go where there's already a large audience and make an intelligent value adding, there's the word again, right? Value add value. I can add value in the comments and then increase my exposure there. And guess what I'm also doing at the same time? Not only increasing my visibility, I'm also making better friendships with the people that I'm supporting their posts. Yeah. So I'm doing 2 things at the same time. I'm increasing my visibility and I'm establishing a better relationship with the person that I'm commenting on. And so for me, what most people get wrong on LinkedIn is they're trying to sell directly in their posts and they're not commenting nearly enough. Like when I say not nearly enough, if you were on LinkedIn for an hour, just let's make it easy math, an hour a day, I would say that you should spend at least 40 minutes, 45 minutes of your time commenting and only 15 minutes, up to 15 minutes, responding to your own comments and maybe putting out another post. That's how I would do it. It's the opposite of what everybody thinks, but that's my advice.
Well, there you have it, everybody, from somebody who's just short of 200,000 followers. And so he's built his following doing exactly that. So
and that doesn't count the 100. I've got 100,000 business followers on LinkedIn too. Nobody ever adds those up, but I've got a lot. I've got a lot of business followers. And the reason when I joined LinkedIn, everybody said business pages were dead, right? You can't get organic followings with business pages. And that's not true.
Yes, you can.
All you have to do with business pages to get followers is treat it like you would your personal profile. Make posts, engage with people. If you want people to be interested in you, you have to show interest in them. You can do it from a personal page. You can do it from a business page. So there's a lot of ways to grow on LinkedIn, and you don't have to do all of them. You pick the ones that you like, but almost all of the growth ways come with being humble, helping, like you said, adding value. And then of course it's a top of mind sport. So you got to be present, right? Yeah. You do have to spend some time at this.
And to be authentic. That's probably the number one point that I would make, is to be authentic. Be your genuine self.
I would hope that goes without saying, but yeah, that should be like the foundational piece for all of it, right? Like,
it should go without saying.
let me just say this though. If you're a jerk, you probably shouldn't be an authentic jerk. You should try to work on that a little bit and be nicer, because I think there's the other part of this too, right? Along with, if we're speaking about foundational truths, authenticity and honesty and kindness. You really need all three. If you're going to be a jerk. Now, some of us could get away with it because maybe we're famous or whatever. We've done some, like sometimes Gary V can come off as a little bit abrasive, right? But he gets away with it because he has like 6 million followers. Okay. But you're not Gary V. I'm not Gary V. So I need to be nice. And so, be honest. Like, don't come across as a snake oil salesman. No offense to snake oil salesmen. Actually, I don't care. They can be offended. That's fine. Snake oil salesman. You want to tell the truth. You want to be authentic. Like, look, if you're having a bad day, you asked me before the show started about my daughter, and we've talked for quite a while about some real stuff that we're going through. And that's okay. Like, I didn't fake it. I told you what was really happening.
Exactly. That's just who you are.
Yeah. And I think that's what people should expect, right? Like, if you're going to represent yourself, I hate the fake it till you make it crowd. I'm okay with, let me just be clear. I'm okay with earning while you learn, right? You can earn while you learn, but don't fake it till you make it. Like, tell people, like, if they're investing in you, they should have the facts. They should know the real score. And it's okay. Like, I get people at Bowman Digital Media. They're like, hey, Ira, can you do whatever the project might be? Let's say, for example, it's like e-commerce. It's not really my specialty. I'm more like a service-based guy. So I work with a lot of the service-based businesses. But if an e-commerce business comes to me and says, hey, could you do this build out for us, or this SEO? Or here's an example. Somebody said, hey, can you help us with our SEO on Amazon?
Yep.
And I'm like, no, I can't. That's not my thing. I could probably find somebody to do it for you, but I cannot do that. And then someone said, but I really love what you do. What if we know it's not your specialty, but we basically will give you like less than market? You can kind of get to learn it, and we get to work with the person that we want to work with. I'm like, I'll consider that, because in that case, they knew I'm not that guy, right? Now, that's just an example, but I don't want people out there to be lying. I don't like it. For me, it's a deal killer. If I find out you're not honest, then we're done.
It's okay to say you don't know something, but you can find out how.
I respect that. Yeah. I respect it, right? You got it.
Okay, Ira, so finally, before we go, what would be the number one tip that you would provide to the viewing LinkedIn audience out there?
Yeah, I think the number one tip, other than what we've already talked about, again, with the not selling directly to people and trying to grow your relationships to get the referral base, so to educate more than to sell and to make a lot of comments. Besides that, the other thing that I deal with a lot with people is this: don't assume everybody is on LinkedIn. In other words, you could turn to places like Pew Research, figure out where your demographic really is. For example, a lot of people are trying to sell to the C-suite, but the C-suite, a lot of those CEOs, those CFOs, those CIOs, those folks aren't even on LinkedIn. Yes, they do have a profile because somebody in HR or maybe an admin assistant, or a web developer said, hey, you all got to have a profile on LinkedIn. We're going to make you one. We'll take care of it, right? Those things. But you want an audience that's actually engaging, that's using LinkedIn. If you're going to focus on LinkedIn as your primary sales tool for those folks, it might not be that they're on LinkedIn. You can do some homework and figure out where they are. So take the time to figure out your demographic of who you're trying to sell to, and then figure out what social media platform they are. I mentioned earlier that I'm on Instagram, and I have over 100,000 followers on Instagram, but I'm also on Twitter and YouTube. The reason why I'm on YouTube, interesting, in America, 81% of Americans have a YouTube account. That's more than any other platform by far. So if you're trying to just use one platform to sell to Americans, you're much better chance of finding your audience on YouTube than you are on LinkedIn. So it's just be careful when the people say, oh, I'm a LinkedIn only person, because you have to start thinking like a producer not a consumer. The consumer mindset goes, I'm here because I like this place. But in sales, our responsibility is to make sure the audience can hear us. And then we're putting out a message, obviously, that's interesting and educational and those things. So you might be fishing in the wrong pond if you're only on LinkedIn. Check into it. That is my advice.
That's great advice. Ira, thank you so much for all of your advice, suggestions, tips, and insights that you provided today. Truly valuable, truly appreciate you. And it's been great to have you on the LinkedIn Global Influencer Summit. So thank you kindly.
Thank you so much, Derek. It's been my pleasure. I hope to make it again next year.
You certainly will. Thank you, my friend, and bye for now.